It's a good evening. Welcome to Cricket 360. Wherever you are around the world watching this episode, it might be morning, afternoon, but we just greet you. My name is Tawanda Eli with Dennis Musali, coming back to give you another exciting episode. Interesting match day that we had today. Lots of action, I tell you. Entertaining, records broken here and there, but all in the name of T20 cricket action. Musali, how are you?
I'm very well. I should have put on my Zimbabwe bucket hat. Today feels like a Zimbabwe day.
Zimbabwe day it is. Let's start with the lesser news, just to say it is an interesting game that we had. That was at Gymkhana, Rwanda taking on Mozambique. Many people would not have given this one to Mozambique, but I tell you, it was an interesting one. So Rwanda won the toss. They chose to bat first. Mozambique said they would have loved also to bat first, but they will do whatever they can. They were looking at a total of 130 to be what they can restrict Rwanda to. Rwanda were hoping for 150 plus in terms of trying to win that one. But however, that was not the case. It was an issue of a combined bowling effort that we saw from Mozambique. João coming through to be the pick of the bowlers, picking up 3 important wickets, but also aided with the other bowlers for Mozambique, as saw them restricting Rwanda to about 86 all out.
Yeah, a bit of a surprise, that result. And I think for me, when I was looking at it, at the Ruaraka, but I realized that Rwanda had probably tried to give everyone a chance in the squad. So they had a couple of changes in that team. And I feel that maybe the result could have been influenced by that, the imbalance of the team. In my opinion, I just thought that, you've mentioned it, I think as one of the many who would not have given that result to Mozambique. Because I think Rwanda, even in the rankings, they're ahead of Mozambique. I just felt, I think the batting was completely, just let them down today. They have the bowling in them. We saw them testing Kenya with the bowling. But the number of runs, they didn't get enough in the game against Kenya. And even today, 80 on a wicket at the Gymkhana is totally unforgivable. You not get Mozambique had just scored 150 on that same wicket. So for them today, I think when they realized that they've gotten them out for less than 80, it was going to be an easy game for them.
Mozambique have become the dark horses of the tournament. No one gave them a chance, but they have done well.
I did give them a chance after those first two. After the first 2 match days, Eli, I remember I told you that the tournament starts for Mozambique after these 2 games, because they knew Zimbabwe and Kenya were a touch ahead of them, but the other teams, they were going to compete.
They compete. I did ask Felipe Kosa, the captain, saying, what did you learn from the 2 games that you played against Kenya first and then Zimbabwe? He said, we went back, we looked at our performances, what our strengths were. Bowling is one of them, and we looked to polish that upon, changed a bit of their batting order. They brought in João to open up, and Vieira Tembo was dropped down the order. They were looking to do quite well with the bat. That they did. And looking at that, how their transformation has been, they lost 2, now they have won 2 games, and they're pretty well placed in 3rd place, and they play Gambia next tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. And I think they are guaranteed of finishing in 3rd position, which will be a massive performance from them. They've kept on improving tournament by tournament, but when you're in a group that has 2 teams that are far off from the others, it's a bit difficult for you to make the next step. But I think they're not far from, maybe one day qualifying for the Africa finals. They comprehensively beat the Seychelles, and of course today by 60 runs, and then today they followed it up with a good performance against Rwanda. Definitely. So they are showing that they are learning very fast.
They're learning very fast. They are winning by 7 wickets in this one, so that's a pretty comprehensive win.
Eli, just to touch about the 2 games they lost, Francisco Kuwana never got runs. Francisco Kuwana is really the heartbeat for that team, especially with the bat. Yeah. Whenever he scores runs, they are able to get a good result. And those 2 games have been able to win. In both games, he's been able to come up with the runs for them.
Definitely, he performed well with the ball as well. Did magnificently with his bowling figures. Came back to be the anchoring batter to see them over the line in that chase of 87. Then we take a look at the rankings. Mozambique actually are rated 64, while Rwanda are rated 63 in T2OI. So it was a pretty close.
Middleweight, I normally call them a welterweight contest. Both teams punch for punch, and if I play the better game on the day, I should be able to get the results.
All right, we complete the rankings. Gambia placed well at the bottom, playing a team that is rated 12th. Kenya coming 33rd, and Seychelles coming at 91. That brings us to talk about the game where you at. Number 12 versus the last team on the rankings.
Yeah, I think in the morning we had a routine Kenyan win, a 9-wicket win for them against the Seychelles. Seychelles winning the toss, electing to bat first, but I think they were not very interested with the way they showed up with the bats. Bundled out for only 74, and then Kenya getting home very easily inside 12 overs. So that was really a routine win, important for Kenya because that win was going to guarantee them progression to the Africa finals. But once Seychelles never showed up, it was really, in the end, it was very easy for them.
It was all up to them.
Yeah, it was all up to them, really.
Talking about the game between Kenya and Seychelles, Kenya were not really chasing much. I think it was just around the 70 mark that we needed. Many people believe that Kenya should have put the foot on the pedal, do it within the first 6 overs. Why are you going all the way to the 12th?
Yeah, I think Neil Mugabe and Rishabh Patel haven't been among the runs for Team Kenya. And in a game like this, and I thought it was a good idea for the coaches to stick by them and stick them in. They took their time. They took their time just to get a feel of things. And then later on, Neil was able to explode. He got 33 not out. Rishabh got 20 before he losing his wicket. But by the time he went out, they had already put on a partnership of 52, the both of them. And I think they wanted them to have some time out in the middle. It could be important for them tomorrow if the two get to play and give them some sort of confidence. Neil Mugabe has had some bad luck, in my opinion. Got run out the other day without facing a ball and things like that. So probably the knock today must have given him some sort of confidence, leading up into a very important game for them tomorrow.
Yeah, great knock that Neil Mugabe had, scoring just around 33 runs plus there. That was good. It will be a good confidence booster because tomorrow they face the team that has been massacring people. Massacring might seem like it's an understatement. They've been putting people under the guillotine. So a tough game that Kenya will be having tomorrow versus Zimbabwe. So we won't jump into that as yet, but we come to the last game that you had, Zimbabwe versus Gambia.
I don't know. Like you said, I needed to put on my Zimbabwe bucket hat today because it seemed like Zimbabwe day. And when I was at the toss with the two captains, the moment Ismaila Tamba realized that he'd lost the toss, he nearly took Skandara's aside to just negotiate the toss and make sure, just negotiate the toss so that we are friendly. Because Ismail and Raza, when they came together, they first greeted each other, Salam alaikum. So I think he wanted to just take him to the side and negotiate the toss. But once Raza had gotten the toss that he wanted, immediately said they wanted to bat. Yesterday they got 240 on the same wicket. Maybe today they wanted to try and go for something different, be more positive against an attack that is really very young and still learning the game. And I must tell you, Eli, the whole game, out of 120 balls, there were only 18 dot balls. And the 18 dot balls, most of them were swing and a miss, not that someone is coming forward to block.
Right.
So it was raining, it was carnage at the Ruaraka.
Breaking down Zimbabwe's innings, Marumani got off to a blistering start, scoring 62 of 19. And then his opening partner, that'll be Brian Bennett, 50 of 26. Walk us through that opening pair.
Yeah, and it started off, Bennett was really the aggressor in the beginning. I think he raced to about 22 before Marumani even got anything on the board. But once he was able to take strike, the strike change to Marumani, he gave a chance, caught behind, but it was a difficult one for the keeper. Got some glove on it, but still it raced away for a boundary. From there on, everything else was going over the boundary. He got his 50 off 17 balls, I think.
Yep, 19 to be exact.
Yeah, 19 balls. Was a very quick 50 for Marumani, and he was coming after everything, I'm telling you. And it wasn't like he was just slogging. By the way, they played some very proper cricket shots to get these boundaries, because Gambia are not all that bad in terms of bowling. They just know that they need to bowl, wicket to wicket, and that's it for them. So the balls were in the slot, but they just played some proper cricket shots. So Marumani got to his 50 in quick time before he lost his wicket. I think they put on a partnership from 98, the both of them. But by the time the 90 came around, we were probably around the 6th or 7th over. They were racing. They hit the ball all over the park, and if they check that wagon well, everywhere. It was spread everywhere.
Evenly spread. It was lots of things to talk about. I know a man that you really admire a lot, Clive Madande, also getting to a half century, 53 of 17, got a 4 off the last one, 47.
I think one of the things I like today about how Zimbabwe went about their game is that everyone was enjoying each other's success. When Clive came in, it's only Dion Myers who really didn't cash in. And Ryan 12 quickly, and and Tion Myers didn't catch it. I mean, didn't get much. He got only 12, and then before departing, but the rest of the guys really stepped up today. And Randball got 25 of 10, but he was also starting to motor just a miscue, going straight to a field and picking it up. But after that, everyone was interested. When Clive came around, he started going after the bowling. You could have thought maybe Scanner is also looking for his personal milestone and will hold him back, but each one of them just took charge from wherever they were. And even for Clive to get to his 50, in the last over he was on 41. But when Scanner hit a shot to the boundary, they just joked through, sort of trying to let him have the strike for the final 2 balls. And gracefully, he was able to put them away for 2 sixes, and he got to his 50 off 17 balls. So that is a moment where he realized that, you know what, maybe now let me allow Clive to also have a moment. He hasn't had so much of a knock throughout the whole tournament, but now that he got the opportunity and seemed that he'll be cracking it, he gave them that opportunity. So it was a very good thing to see. And maybe Clive as well for Sikandar. Scanner was on 97, and once the ball came off his bat and was going for 6, the first part was to raise his hands in the air. You would think Clive is the one who's getting to the 100 and not Scanner Raza. So everyone was happy for the other success, which was a very good thing to see. I saw Clive hitting. They were intentional with the way they were hitting today. Right. It was proper range hitting.
Right.
You could hit a ball to the boundary with your head down and goes for 4, but they were putting their head up and trying to go for maximum, which was that was skill cricket, by the skill hitting from Zimbabwe.
Now, we've been avoiding this one, the big record, Sikandar Raza's best of 133, best for the tournament, and that's his personal best, and becomes the first Zimbabwe to actually get 100 in T20.
Yeah, Sikandar Raza, first of all, he didn't know about it when I was speaking to him at the post-match. He wasn't aware that maybe he would be in touch of the century.
Yeah.
So for him, he just kept going. The plan for the team, as he mentioned, was to make sure everyone who goes in there keeps on the intensity.
Right.
At whatever number you're batting, you need to make sure that if Eli has scoring 10 of 2, I have to score 10 of 3 to make sure we keep up with the intensity of the game. And he just literally just kept hitting. He was put down a couple of times, once or twice. I think then he picked out a few fielders, but there were also difficult chances. Maybe any other team would have taken them. But on your day, you take them. If you don't touch me, I'll keep coming after you.
Exactly.
So he ran his luck, and he was able to make sure that he brings up that milestone.
Milestone he brought, but the big one becomes Zimbabwe's chasing down the world record and beating it, and they did not beat it by little. The highest T20 total was 314, and they get to 344 for 4.
Yeah, massive again. By the way, Sikandar, that places him in second place, the second fastest T20 centuries, with Nicole Lofty-Eaton of Namibia. The fastest centuries of 27 balls. But wow. I know, but it was, I mean, a very good record for him personally. But he still said that they were focused on the team total. Right. They wanted to overhaul that 314. The 314 scored by Nepal against Mongolia.
Yeah.
And today, Zimbabwe now, they put some distance between 314 and 344,
yeah,
which was a total team effort today. They made sure that even in the corners, the foot is still on the gas.
Foot is still on the gas. So I would put you in the hot seat. You are ICC. You put these tournaments together. Then you have a team ranked 12th playing the last team. How difficult does it put you in terms of just, grasping everything and trying to get a hold of control of such score?
I don't know. I mean, the Nepal versus Mongolia, surely that is also a mismatch. It should. I think for me, I feel this is the beauty of the pathway events.
Right.
That they reduce the gap between the haves and have-nots.
Right.
You get an opportunity. How often will Gambia ever get to play a test playing team? We saw Uganda making a record beating up on Zimbabwe, a test playing team. So those things don't come around often, but those opportunities can only come through these pathway events. For Ghana, they will go back home with the stories about how they were able to bowl to Zimbabwe and they were hit all over the place. But that also gives them perspective on how far they are from the others. You know that, you know what, maybe we need to work on this, we need to work on that. How do these guys get here? I saw a couple of their technical teams speaking to the technical team of Zimbabwe, and they must be asking themselves, how do you guys get here? How come your players are this good and ours are not yet there? And through those interactions, so many other things can happen. Maybe 1 or 2 Gambian players would play in the Zimbabwean NPL. So there are so many good things that come out of playing this competition. Take away the numbers. I think teams can only get better by playing teams that are better than them.
I'll be devil's advocate, is there anything really that some of these teams take back home after such thrashings that they have received at the hand of Zimbabwe? Like, if you put it in Gambia's place, really, maybe when you take a look at other associatives they played against, which were, not to say that they're at par, but that they gave it their most, are there any positives that they draw out from here?
Yeah, most definitely. And you saw all the teams, every time we're asking them at the toss, you're trying to find out if they are scared of playing against Zimbabwe. You know what, we're here, and then we're here to play. We're not going to give them full tosses. We're going to bowl what we know, and then we can be able to see if it's good enough or not. And I think for me, it's only good things I can take out of this. Like I've mentioned, the experience of playing against a team. When will a team like Zim ever to teams in the West Africa? These opportunities only come through these pathway events. Unfortunately, probably Zimbabwe may never have a chance of coming back down here. But whenever there is an opportunity for them to play, even when they were coming out to bowl against the Gambia, they were not taking things very lightly. They gave everything to make sure that you show that I want to put you in your place, but I still respect you. So these only good things can come out of these experiences. And for me, I have a feeling that all these countries have been very, very happy to get a chance to play against Zimbabwe. None of them has looked at it like, tomorrow we're just going to give them a free hit, and then we shall think about the other teams that we can compete with. They've been interested. Gambia, even today, even if they were just conceding so many boundaries, but you could see the balls that they could be able to cut off and things like that. They were still doing that. They held on to 2 chances that were given. None of them was put down. So they gave a very good effort for themselves. At the end of the day, it was just not good enough.
Not good enough it was. But now we take a look at the fixtures that are lined up tomorrow, being the last day of the tournament. It will be Mozambique who will take on Gambia. What do you give that one to?
Mozambique, most definitely Mozambique. I think now Mozambique have the win in their sail. They want to get 3 out of 3 on the bounce, and they should be able to. I think now for them, they are thinking that we are going to be the best team in the midfield.
Yeah.
If we finish third, because the other 2 guys are really way ahead of them. If we finish third, we are the best team in the midfield, and that should give them a lot of confidence when they go back home.
All right, the other game, it will be Rwanda will take on Seychelles.
Yeah, I think Rwanda, the redemption for them. They missed playing Gambia, unfortunately. But they really need this performance. This will be probably the only victory for them in the whole tournament after taking the field. So Coach Lawrence Martin and his boys need a lift up. Okay. And I feel that against the Seychelles look a bit deflated. Maybe they had high expectations, but since they lost to Zimbabwe, they've unfortunately failed to regroup and get together and then try and challenge the other team. So I think Rwanda should be able to carry the day.
And lastly, it will be Kenya, the host, taking on Zimbabwe. That should be a brilliant game to watch.
Yeah, it should be. I spoke to Shem, but I didn't seem very, what's the right word to use? He didn't seem very optimistic about the result. He admitted that, of course, Zimbabwe is a better team than them. It's sort of different answer from what Rosa said when I asked Rosa that, you know what, you guys have already earned qualification to the next round.
Yeah.
Do you feel is it job done so you can relax a bit? Said no. We came to these qualifiers knowing there's only one team going to the qualifying for the next round.
And not 2 slots.
So not 2 slots. So there's no slowing down. Even tomorrow they're going to come hard. So you can see the conversation between the 2 captains a bit different.
Yeah.
Also clearly Zimbabwe, for them, they still have their mind. They want to remain unbeaten in the tournament, and I think that will send a statement to the other teams that are they came out of the qualifier A, B, and then C, and then of course Uganda and Namibia who are waiting. So I feel for me, if Zimbabwe do what they've been doing, they should be able to win the game.
Should be able to win the game. It'll be number 12, Zimbabwe, taking on number 33, that is Kenya. Rankings, many say that they don't mean much when you take on the field. Raza says, I will treat everybody differently. Doesn't matter where you are ranked. I will give you my best shot that I have.
Yeah, very true. I think, and I've also liked it throughout the whole tournament. We've been speaking about it on commentary, that the respect that Zimbabwe has showed for this tournament, I think, is massive. For them to come here as the big boys but still be humble enough to make sure that they don't undermine all the other teams. We saw them pulling covers on the ground just to make sure the ground is ready, helping out on the ground team. The way they carry themselves on the field, they are taking the difficult catches even if they don't have to, and how they interact with the rest of the group. So it's been very, very good of them to show that as big brothers, you know what, we're here, but we'll do what we have to do. But we respect each of the teams, and they haven't taken anyone very lightly. They haven't been, just trying to slog while batting. They hit proper cricket shots, and if you bowl in their zone and anything, they have people with X factor. Even with the ball, Ngarava today was bowled so well. So they have in it they have something in them to make sure they can beat up on everyone. But it hasn't been lost on them that actually, if you don't show up, you could easily fall back and lose to someone.
Fantastic. So do join us tomorrow where we come through with a roundup of everything that we have seen here. I also asked Dennis to compile his team of the tournament after having watched pretty much a majority of the games. He can give us his best 11 as well and some of the most promising teams. This is us from 360. Thank you for joining us. Join us tomorrow again.